So for the longest time, I've been looking for ways to incorporate this card in my deck. I've really been thinking of whether I should even run it or not. It's a great card. It's a card that easily gets you a link to and lets you go into your boards. Recently what I did is I saw a video of a Sky Striker player that played this in conjunction with the Ibli. And with that, basically what he was able to do is he was able to make some pretty big plays. Now, the way it ended up going into is he would obviously run the Kagari, he would run the Goblin as nightmare food, and then he would run the a play set of Nightmare Mermaid. And what the Nightmare Mermaid did is it gave him some fodder to go into this card, Akashic Magician. This card was really big. It was really hyped up whenever the Grinder Golem loops were happening. But one of the cool things that this has is it has a wonderful interaction with Ibli. And with the Hornet Drone's effect to not take up your normal summon, it basically turns these two cards in your deck into either a Dark Hole, a Heavy Storm, a spin back into the deck, or non-targeting removal. Not only that, if you end up going with any of these that point up, you can actually end up milling 3 from your deck, which ends up being cool, and maybe even drawing something with Akashic's Magician's effect. So this has a lot of use cases, especially in decks that don't use a really big extra deck, in decks like Burning Abyss, where you can end up getting some advantage from the mill, especially in Lightsworn, where you want to mill everything, maybe mill a Fairy Tale Snow, you get a bunch of Link monsters in the graveyard for food. There was also a combo I found with the Mermaid, and the Mermaid ends up being an enabler for one card in particular in the deck. So what I'll do is I'll kind of show you an example of what I mean. I'll link his video, it'll be somewhere on here, and you'll be able to see what I mean, how adding just 2 cards into your deck, one that's already searchable, and then one that you can just pull it straight out of your deck with an extra deck card, can add a big oomph to your deck, and it'll give it a little bit more power than and a little bit more flexibility than you probably had before if you didn't run those cards. Alright, so the way the combo works is it requires the Hornet Drones, and it requires any other card in your hand. It doesn't matter what it is. All you needed is to be able to activate the Mermaid. And so this is how it works. So you activate the Hornet Drones, get a token, you get rid of the token, and you summon Akashic from your extra deck. The Akashic will get you back the token. You play the token again, or you play the Hornet Drones, get another token. And so that's it. That gives you your 2 monsters. You haven't used your normal summon, none of that craziness. You get rid of the token and the Kagari, and you summon any nightmare monster that points sideways. That's all it requires. Pretty much every single one does it except for Mermaid. But, I mean, then again, you wouldn't be able to make Mermaid with this. So you summon the Goblin. You don't have to activate its effect, none of that. All we're going to use it for is to get rid of it, to summon the Mermaid. The Mermaid will discard your card, and it'll summon your Ibli directly from your deck, just like that. Now what you can do is you can get rid of the Ibli, and you can summon another Mermaid right below it. You can activate the Ibli's effect, and you can put it in front of any extra monster zone. It doesn't matter which one it is. Now that you do that, you get rid of both Mermaids. They're both fiends. So what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to summon Akashic Magician, and you'll be able to summon it. You have to summon it wherever the Ibli's pointing. What it'll do is it'll bounce both cards that it points to back to the hand. So we'll get the Ibli back to our hand. Now, because you didn't use your normal summon, you can normal summon Ibli, and your Ibli will get you back your side pointing Nightmare, which in this case is Goblin. And so this is what you end up with. You end with an Akashic, a Nightmare Goblin, and a Ibli. And so what does this mean? Well, there's a few things you can do. You can get rid of the Akashic Magician and the Ibli, to go into Topologic Trisbania or Nightmare Unicorn. If you go into the Trisbania, so we'll do one. So we'll get rid of both of these. We'll go into the Trisbania. Now that we have the Trisbania on the field, you can get rid of the Goblin, and that's where the third Mermaid comes in. Once you do this, this gets banished, and you banish all back row that's on the field. Really big. If we go back, we rewind a little bit. If you wanted to, if you have an opponent that has a bunch of monsters, no problem. You get rid of the Goblin and the Akashik, and you summon the Bomber Dragon. The good thing about the Ibli is it's another Mermaid target, so you could just summon the Mermaid and then destroy all the monsters on the main monster zone. Either way you slice it, you're always going to be able to do this. So now you have your background removal, and you have your main monster zone removal, which is great. So we'll go back, and the same thing. This basically makes it so you can go into any link 4 or any link 3. Let's say your opponent had a Borrelord Dragon and you needed to get rid of it. No problem. You can get rid of these two. And actually what you could do is you can get rid of Ibli, go into the Mermaid, and then get rid of these two to go into your Ningirsu. Then what you could do is you could activate Akashik's second effect. It lets you declare a card name, and then you excavate the top 3 cards. If any of them are that card you named, you add it to your hand. So you can call out things like a hand trap, like Ash Blossom or Drolin Lockbird, you know, anything like that. And you have a way of maybe adding that card to your hand. But if you're a deck like Lightsworn or anything like that, you have a really good chance of milling 3 cards because the Ningirsu has 3 pointers on it. That's wonderful because now you have double use for your Akashik Ningirsu field. You can use Ningirsu, or you can use Akashik to get you value off your Ningirsu pointers to perhaps add a card or even better mill cards. And then once you're done with its effect, you can use Ningirsu to send Akashik Magician and not even blow up, just send any card your opponent controls to the grave. And that's good because that's non-targeting removal and milling all in one card. You did it from from having a Hornet Drones in any card. So the package looks something like that. And then, of course, you could do the Unicorn. This, I don't think, is probably as good as any of the rest of them. I guess maybe if you wanted to not send something to the graveyard, you wanted to spin it back to the deck, that's when it would be good. But the package, really, the one that I would probably run would look like this. It would be... You have to play... in your deck, it's only really these 2 cards. You obviously add more copies of this, more copies. You add the, what do you call it? You add the Searcher. Oh, why am I not thinking of his name? Engage. Mobilize Engage. You add those. You add the Hornet Drow so you can search him and then be able to pull off this combo. But it's such a big utility combo that you don't have to. It's a combo that takes up almost no extra deck space, which is great. No extra deck space, I'm sorry, I mean main deck space. It does take up a lot of extra deck space, but then again, because it requires fodder, and then the Akashic materials and more fodder, the Kagari to get your drones back to make a link to your Playmaker, and then any of your disruptors, monsters, back row, and non-targeting. And this is great. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It requires 9 extra deck slots. But if you already run a deck that doesn't require its extra deck too much, or you have a ton of extra deck space, this is a wonderful package to add to your deck. Now, there was a combo that I found that has almost nothing to do with this. It's kind of has something to do with this deck, or with this combo. But what you're able to do is you're able to set up double negates with Hornet Drones and another card in your deck. So I'll show you that right now. So the combo begins with the Hornet Drones, and the other card it requires is the Atlantean Dragoons. This counter right here represents how many cards your opponent has in his hand. So this is going to be a hand loop combo with Gumblar Dragon. So this is how you start it. You play the Hornet Drones, get your token, get rid of your token, summon your Kagari. The Kagari is going to give you the Hornet drones back. You play the Hornet drones, you get a token. So there's your two monsters, right? Get rid of the token, get rid of the Kagari, and you summon your Goblin. Now you get rid of your Goblin, you summon your Mermaid, you get rid of your Dragoons. The Mermaid will summon your Ibli. The Dragoons will get you the Prince to your hand, the Neptibus. Now what you could do is you could summon the Neptibus. Well, you know what? We'll get rid of the Ibli first, and we'll summon a Mermaid. The Ibli uses its effect, and you want to put it on the opposite side of where these guys are pointing. And here, I'll show you why. You'll summon your Neptibus right under the Ibli. Send a Dragoons, get a Dragoons. That Dragoons will get you a Megalo. Now what you do is you get rid of both of the Mermaids. You go into Akashic Magician. That's why you want to put it here, because this Mermaid was in the way. That'll bounce every card it's pointing to the owner's hand. This one and this one. So that's what our hand looks like. Now what we could do is we were able to bounce the water monster back to our hand so we can discard for Megalo. So we'll discard both of them. And so now what we can do is we'll trigger Neptibus, we'll trigger the Dragoons, that'll get us a Moulin Glacier, and we'll trigger the Megalo. That'll give us anything, really. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, this, I guess, if you want to go for like the stun combo. So how many water monsters do we have in our graveyard? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 water monsters. Wonderful. So now you can drop your Moulin Glacier. Whenever you summon your Dragoons, you actually want to put it over here. I don't know why I put it here. You want to keep these zones empty. I'll show you why here in a little bit. So you rip 2 cards from your opponent's hand with the Moulin Glacier. There it goes. Then you get rid of the Megalo and the Moulin Glacier, and you go into your Nightmare Goblin right under the Akashic. Use its effects, get rid of the Abyss Sphere. Now you can summon again. You summon the Ibli, and when you summon the Ibli, you'll be able to get the side pointing Nightmare monster that you use. I'll use Goblin because it's probably the most flexible one. Now what you got to do is you got to find a way to bring out a level. You got to find out to bring out a machine. You got to find out a way of bringing out the Rosenix to the field. And so this is how you're going to do that. You're going to get rid of the... Well, it really doesn't matter which one you do. We'll do these two. We'll get rid of the Akashic and the Corruptor Ibli. And we're going to summon the Gaia Saber right over here. Right there. Now we're going to get rid of the Nightmare Goblins, and we're going to go into the Sork. The Gaia Saber is important because it's a machine, and it's a link 3, so you get to preserve your arrows. You use a Sork, point to the Gaia Saber, and that'll get you a Rosenix from the deck. Now you can overlay the Dragoons and the Rosenix. You want to put them right next to the Gaia Saber because you want your Toad to end up right here. And so now what you do is you go into your Bahamut, and you're going to detach one. You want to detach the Dragoons so you can get some value, and you'll summon the Toad right here. The Dragoons will trigger. It'll get you an infantry straight from your deck. Now what you could do is you can get rid of these two, and you can summon your Firewall Dragon, and you can banish the Rosenix, and you can banish it to get a token. Well, you can get rid of that token, and that'll get... Oh, actually, you had 3 cards. That'll get you a Link Spider right here. So now you have 2 pointers to the Firewall Dragon. You can add a Neptibus to your hand, and you can add a Dragoons to your hand. Why not? Now what you could do is you can make a Link 4 of your choice. And if you do that, you can rip another card from your opponent's hand. So what we'll do is we'll get rid of these 2. And that'll do our Gumblar Dragon right here. Well, because a monster left the field, I can use Firewall's effect, summon the Neptibus. And now that I summon the Neptibus, I can immediately get rid of the Neptibus and summon the Link. I can immediately get rid of the Neptibus and summon the Link Karibo. That'll trigger our Gumblar, discarding the 2 cards that we got. So now our opponent's hand is down to 1. They will draw 1 more card from their deck, but you have the totally awesome to negate it. Let me see something real quick. Let me go back a few steps. All right, so one thing I kind of made of a boo-boo on, a little bit of a mistake. You actually don't have to summon the Gaia Saber here. You can summon it here because the goblin is pointing it to. I don't know why I didn't think of that. That actually is probably better because now you can get rid of those two. Summon the Sork here, and then pull out the Rosenix and summon it here. And if you could do that, now you can still overlay. You have way more room. You could choose which pointers you go to. You always want to still do it under the Sork, because if you do it under the Sork, what will end up happening is you have 2 places you can put your toad. You can put it here or here. I'd rather put it here just to kind of get it out of the way of the link shenanigans. So we get rid of this, do this, get that effect, get a Sea Serpent. And then from here, what you could do is you can get rid of these 2, go into the Firewall, and then get rid of the Rose and go into the Link Spider. You know, get the token, Link Spider, all that stuff. And now that, what it'll do is it'll get you a field where you have this. You could easily go into another interrupt and get 2 more cards from your graveyard. I have the graveyard right here in my hand. But what that'll do is that'll give you the option to go into, you know, you can add Neptibus, Dragoons, Megalo, Moulin, that kind of stuff. And you can continue your plays, but that'll at least get you a floodgate, not just a Gumblar dragon, but it'll maybe get you like a Griffin, or yeah, the Griffin probably is the best one you can do. But it'll give you a Griffin or, you know, something like that. So you can like just link these 2 out, go like this. And then if you had a monster you wanted to summon with Firewall Dragon, you could just summon it right here. You could probably get a 3rd negate. You could send to, yeah. So what you could do is, whenever we originally got that search for the Bahamut Shark and the Dragoons, you could have searched for maybe, let's see, what could we search for? We could search for Megalo, and if we would have searched for Megalo, let's go back a little bit, we would have gone, oh, where are you? We would have gone Gaia Saber. Yeah, the Gaia Saber was here, right there. The Sork was right here, and the Dragoons was right over here. So we'll go back in time. We tutored the Rosenix over here. We overlaid both of them. We go into the Bahamut Shark right there. Discard 1, get the Toad. And now we search for that. This time we're going to search for a Megalo, right? So what we'll do, and this was the rest of the graveyard. I'm going to put that back in the deck, just right there. And so now what we'll do is we link these 2 up, Firewall, banish the Rose, get a token, get rid of it, go into a Link Spider right above it. That'll get you 2 back. So now what you could do is you can get a Dragoons and a Dragoons. And now what that'll do is that'll let you discard your hand, summon Megalo. It really, well, yeah, I guess you could summon him here. That'll get you 2 searches from your deck, so you can add cards like Infantry or, we'll do Diva and Infantry, why not? So we'll do those 2 cards. And so then what that'll let you do as well, that'll let you use Megalo's effect to get you any other card on the from your deck to the hand. So what we'll do is we will add the Mizuchi, the negate. So right here already, what you could have done is you have, this is actually a really strong board, because what you can do now is if we would have put the Megalo over here and we would have searched the Sphere instead, we could have gotten rid of these 2, summon your Griffin, get rid of the Diva, draw a card, that'll get your Sphere back on the field. Now you have this and the Sphere working together, and you have the Mizuchi on here. So that's even better, because now you have 1 negate, 2 negate, and a disruption and a floodgate. And you got all that with the same cards, with the same 2-card combo. The only problem with this is, let's see how big this combo is. Let's see how much extra deck space this takes. It takes that much, that. So just to make this combo work, you needed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cards from your extra deck. That is not even counting your utility cards like this, that, or that, or that. Yeah, I think that's it. No, I wouldn't say that's a utility card. I was gonna say Mr. Boy, but that's not really a utility card. So what that does is that makes it so that this whole self-encapsulating thing creates that 4 interruption board. It gives you a Griffin. It gives you a negate with the or it gives you a negate with the spell card. It gets you a negate with the toad. It gets you a interruption with the infantry and the trap. But it requires all this stuff. This is probably the only thing that I don't like that it requires extra. But it's really cool. And worst comes to worst, you can run an extra nightmare and then just play your deck that way instead. I'm still going to play around with it a little bit more to see how I like it. There's a lot of very good utilitarian cards that I like here, but I don't know. It's interesting. I'm gonna see how it works first. But yeah, that's that. We're gonna play around with that. But yeah, guys, that's what I wanted to go over with you. I wanted to kind of show you some of the combos and combinations you could do with the Hornet drones. Even if you're not playing Mermails, I think it's a wonderful utilitarian card that's very searchable. It's kind of broken, to be honest with you. And then when you combine it with 1 card in your deck, with Ibly and some room in your extra deck, it expands the possibility and the flexibility of what your deck can do. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comments down below. If you have any questions or anything like that. Again, I'll post that video of where I saw the guy. I think it was in UK Nationals, or he almost made us day 2, but I guess he lost in the bubble. But it was awesome because maybe I'm getting it wrong. I know it was a national somewhere, and I apologize if I can't remember exactly. But I'll have the video down below, and it'll be linked up around here somewhere. But it was great, and it really opened my eyes to how broken these 2 cards are, especially when they go together. You could pretty much really summon any powerful card in your extra deck and get full use of it. But again, thanks again, guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.